later, Newton was back in his throne looking exactly the way he did before the fight. Jeff Long walked up to Newton and said, "Newton, why don't we leave Bob and Ramada alone? Ain't no way we can beat them. Maybe too strong for us, know what I'm saying? Well, it was a cool fight that you had with him. And not as cool as the one you had with Quetzalcoatl, but cool all the same, know what I'm saying? That fight was both shocking and iron, know what I'm saying?" Newton looked depressed and said, "Maybe you're right, Jeff. Might not be possible to free those people down there. After all, Bob apparently is too powerful. If we could find the planet it comes from, this Ramada, then I bet we could destroy him. But where is it located? And of course, is there a planet Ramada? That might be a lie brought about from the glowing being who you talked about. This parasite probably is nomadic and doesn't even belong to any planet." Callisto came onto the bridge and said, "I think we've been going about it all along, Newton." "What do you mean?" "From what we witnessed, and from what you described from your meeting with the Holy Helpers, if you kill them, as you said earlier, you just make more of them. And let's face it, you apparently aren't strong enough physically to take Bob on, and even in ultra-mutant form. But in the fight, we noticed something hopeful." "What's that?" Newton asked his alien friend. "We definitely detected a decrease in energy coming from the invisible force field that surrounds the Golden Dome everyone is forced to face, including Bob." "A force field?" Newton asked. "Yes, and this invisible energy shield seems very powerful," said Callisto. "However, if you hadn't become ultra-mutant, I feel that we might have actually had the power to burn through the shields, to burn through that shield and destroy the absorber with phaser fire." "But we don't have that power anymore?" asked Newton. Callisto looked a little shifty-eyed on Newton's question. Newton looked embarrassed and said, with anger in his voice, "Are you saying that because I became ultra-mutant, we now no longer have the power to destroy that absorber down there?" Callisto nodded yes. Newton closed his eyes. Callisto then said, "If we just studied the Golden Dome a little longer before we decided to go mano-a-mano, as you said," Newton cussed him with fury and shouted with fury, "A city would still be there." Newton got out of his throne with clenched fists. "I feel so stupid," he roared. "Is there any way we can still destroy the absorber?" Callisto thought for a while and said, "Sorry, Newton. We had our chance, but we now lack the energy to destroy the absorber since it feeds off of those who look at it. But since it feeds off the energy of those who look at it, maybe we could keep them from looking at it." "And how are we going to do that?" asked Newton, thinking he was dealing with the impossible. "By putting on a broadcast from Mutania that is so strong on all channels that no matter where they turn the dial, they will get our message in video form, telling them to refuse to obey Bob." Newton nearly shouted out, "That's easier said than done, my friend. Since facing that thing means not having a city incinerated or keeping one from going to hell, they will only view such a message as satanic, and will face the absorber anyway. And let's face it, they already witnessed me not only failing but really shrinking away from Bob, and in their mind getting crushed under the huge foot of Bob, and followed by the complete and utter destruction of their city that I caused. No doubt, they think it was we who then caused Bob to explode and destroy so much of their city, when in actuality it was Bob making it look like we were causing him to explode about the place. The precious population of the city be damned." Newton looked about and said, "I don't know about you, my crew, but I don't have a good track record when it comes to winning the hearts and minds of those people down there. I think our only hope of freeing them now is if we destroy the absorber. Destroy the absorber and Bob goes poof into a cloud of Patamar dust. I mean, it was supposed to be Bob who created this planet in mere seconds, was it not? If Bob can't stop the absorber from being destroyed, What will that tell his faithful? Oh, by the way, Callisto, have you learned anything from that holy book that might be of use? Callisto thought and said, Bob really seems to hate the wax of this planet's kumbo trees. It considers the sticky wax of the tree unclean and unholy. Bizarre, said Newton. Figure broke in and said, before the glowing being showed up, kumbo wax was seen as a miracle wax. It had properties in it the scientists were thinking of using to make fuel for our rockets, and a lot of our things were made of it. Since it was seen as unholy, many things in our lives came to a standstill. Newton then said, the god of Ramada probably just declared kumbo tree wax as unholy to keep Patamars from joining the Federation as a way to keep them stuck on this planet, so it can keep on feeding off their life energy till the end of time. Unholy, yeah, right. You might have something there about it wanting to keep them from achieving spaceflight, Newton, said Callisto. In the scriptures of the worship me only or else, there is a passage that says that if the Patamars try to leave the planet in some kind of vehicle, they will be attacked by stars in the lowest heaven. Lowest heaven? Wondered Bat Mason. Where is that? The lowest sky. In actuality, the very atmosphere of the planet, said Callisto. What? Shouted Newton. It says they'll be attacked by stars in the very atmosphere of the planet? The lowest sky? Lowest heaven? Yes. It also says the sky is actually a canopy held up over their heads by the Patamar, right over the heads of the Patamars by the very power of Bob himself, and that the sky is actually an ocean of water that both the sun and moon ride boats or chariots and take your pick. Not only do they ride or swim in it, but they are apparently living life forms that spawn the Patamar race by the power of Bob. In other words, both the moon and sun of the Patamars parents. Upcoba started laughing. Callisto went on and said, apparently the god of Ramada is trying to build into the successive generations of the Patamar inhabitants a very primitive type of mentality that will keep them marooned on their planet. But it's more than unscientific. It is also preaching a moral code of conduct that is so corrupt, so twisted, and so illogical that, according to one scriptural passage, you can actually kill an innocent person just by fearing that they will either someday disappoint a parent or show ungratefulness toward Bob. With that, Fleety broke in and said, "No, you got it wrong, Callisto. I'm familiar with that passage. It's quoted by one of the Ramadars who knew that the boy would grow up to do bad things. That is why he killed him when he was an innocent. It was to show the prophetic powers of Bob." Callisto thought briefly and then responded back with, "If so, why was the word fear mentioned? If this Ramadar was the prophet you claim him to be, or the book claims, why should he have feared the boy turning toward error? The word no would have been the word to suffice, not fear. Also, in my reading of this book, I even learned that not only is slavery allowed, but those who are most willing to face the absorber can have sex with slave girls who are married to the slothful." "Say what?" shouted Jeff Long. "You gotta be kidding! You gotta be kidding!" shouted Obacoba. Fleety broke in and said, "That's only if they don't like their disbelieving husbands. That's only if they don't like them and want to be with the most pious toward Bob." Callisto said, "That's not mentioned anywhere in that book. It clearly doesn't state that at all." Jeff Long shook his head from side to side and said, "Man, it allows for slavery and says it's okay to have sex with a slave girl who is married. Damn, that ain't right. Know what I'm saying? That totally takes away the gripe of my people for the time there was slavery in America, if that damn book were true." Uppercover then said, "Takes away the gripe of my people for the time the black man on my planet enslaved my people." Know what I'm saying? crewman Matt Mason then responded with, amazing. What other stupid, evil things does it say?